Topic we're going to cover the income statement. In a restaurant or a food and beverage establishment, an income statement is one of the three most important documents for a business owner. It provides valuable insights into a company's operations. It tells us the efficiency of the management of the staff working. It tells us the unperforming areas of the establishment as well as the performing areas of the establishment. And these kind of numbers really help in making the management understand where they need to improve and where they need to put their focus areas in and what areas are working for them so that they can boost those areas even more. So let's understand the income statement a little better. In a simplified format of the income statement, it looks like this. You have the revenue, and in the revenue, you have what is revenue? Revenue is basically your sales. It's the same thing. From your total sales, you minus your food and beverage cost, you then minus your labor cost, and then minus the overhead cost, and then finally, you're either left with a profit or a loss percentage. Let's move on further and understand this through another way. We need to know some certain percentages to understand the income statement a little better. Your food cost percentage is equal to your food cost divided by your food sales into 100. Beverage cost percentage is equal to beverage cost divided by beverage sales into 100. Your labor cost percentage is equal to your labor cost divided by total sales. Total sales is basically your food sales plus your beverage sales. That is what total sales is equal to. And you notice for the labor costs we use the total sales, whereas for the food costs we use food sales, and for beverage costs we use beverage sales. Notice how we are not using the total sales in these two cost percentage formulas. With the overhead cost percentage, it works the same as the labor cost. We only put overhead cost divided by total sales into 100. And finally, hopefully, if we have a profit, we take our profit divided by total sales and then we multiply it by 100, and we understand a profit percentage. The food cost, let's just clear this out. Your food cost, beverage cost percentage, and sales cost is equal to your prime cost. Overheads is not a part of prime cost. Most managers make the mistake of adding overheads in their prime costs. This is absolutely incorrect. Overheads is not a part of prime costs. Only your food costs, beverage costs, and labor costs is equal to your prime costs. Now, in this activity over here, a friend comes to me and tells me that he knows his food costs in the form of dollars. He knows how much percentage the food cost is, but he has no idea what the other numbers are. So let's help decode this message for him. To do that, we know the food cost in dollars and we know how much percentage it is. We need to find out the sales in dollars, the labor costs, the overhead costs, and profit. I want to know how much of a profit is he making. How much does 7% translate to? So let's do that. Now that we know the food cost and the food cost percentage, it's easy for us to understand how we can remove the sales. So to do that, we know that food cost is $349,000, $725, and which is 33% of sales. So if this is 33%, then 1% is how much? To do that, we take 349,725 divided by 33% on a calculator, and that should be equal to 10597.72. Okay, let's add this dollar, which is equal to 1%. Now that we know what 1% is, finding out 100% will be very simple. So we multiply 100 into 10597.72 and we get the number 1059772.70. That's my total sales. To find my labor cost, no problem. I know it's 29% and I know how much 1% is. So again, I multiply 29 by 10597.72 and that basically comes up to 307,334.08. I know my overheads. I don't have my overheads right now, so I'll leave this the way it is. I know my profit is 7% and my 1% value is the same. So again, I'll take this. I'll multiply 7 by 10597.72 and that's how I'll get the number 1059772.70. This right here is now my profit. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a small mistake. I just copied the sales there. So if I'm multiplying this amount over here, it should be 74184.09. Now, I need to only calculate my overheads. This should be very simple. If I know my total sales is 100%, this should be basically a breakup of that 100%. So over here, I know that 33 plus 29 plus 7 is a part of the 100. If I minus this all from 100, I'm left with 31. That 31% is my overhead. Now that I know it's 31%, I again multiply it by 10597.72. And through that method, I understand that this number is 328,529.53. And that's how we understand these numbers a little better. But what does all of this mean? Why did we remove the 1%? We calculated 1% because, let's do that. We wanted to calculate the 1% because we want to know from every $1 earned, how much of that money basically goes to what percent of the cost. So this is what the sheet looks like. This is the same thing that we just spoke about. So over here, we use the pie example. I have all my revenue that I earned, my sales, and I've got a big piece of pie in front of me. Not a piece, I've got a full pie with me. After that, I have to remove my food and beverage costs and, sorry, that was the wrong one right again. I removed my food and beverage costs and somebody took a piece of my pie. I then have to pay my salaries and I have to pay my benefits and days off, and somebody else took more of the pie. I now have a gross profit once I deduct the prime cost. I now have a gross profit, and hence managers need to understand what a prime cost is. But what about my overheads? I got to give my overheads as well, and I'm left with lesser and lesser piece of the pie. After my overheads, I'm left with either a profit or a loss. And in this particular case, all this part of the pie has gone, and this piece over here is right mine. Let's move on. Over here we see $1 in front of us. we need to understand from every dollar earned, how much percent of that $1 is basically going towards which costs. So we have to split the dollar. With the similar example that we saw earlier, we now understand that the $1 got split up into our different costs. That means on every $1 earned, 33% went towards the food and beverage cost, which is 0.33 cents. 29% of $1 went towards labor cost, which is 29 cents. 31% of $1 went towards overheads, which was 31 cents. And finally, I was left with a profit of 7 cents. Hence, we need to understand our cost percentages in detail every time. So that's your profit. Enjoy it. Thank you.